Hey everyone, we're back again with another story, and this one has a nice update to it, so be sure to stick around till the end of the video. And it's titled, My Wife's Insane Behavior and How It Changed Us. Let's get right into it. Hello all. Never once did I think I would get to this point. To the point of reaching out to strangers on the internet for guidance, but here we are. My wife and I have been together for 10 years, but married for 8. We met in college and were each other's first and only. I honestly thought we had a unique and beautiful relationship because of that, but it appears that was just me. Some time ago, my wife began working at a new company. At first, she found it difficult to fit in because she's always been reserved, but after encouragement from me, she made friends with a group of girls, some of whom were single, divorced, or dating but non-married. At first, I was happy she made friends, but then she started going out for drinks, partying, or some other thing her friends had planned. I became concerned by her change in behavior and tried to talk to her about it, but at the same time, didn't want to restrict her in any way. It started to affect our relationship in the bedroom. My wife wasn't one to initiate intimacy, but with her continued going out, she was either too tired or wasn't in the mood. At some point, her company got a new manager whom my wife and her friends had taken a shining to. She began mentioning him in passing, but it got to a point where pointing out how he handled certain problems that didn't seem to be work-related. I questioned her on her fascination with this man, and she brushed off my concerns. She even started asking if I regretted not having more experience with women, to which I said no, because she is all I ever needed. I swore I thought for a moment I saw a flash of sadness in her eyes, but she quickly changed the subject. She started mentioning open marriages as a way to spice up our marriage. I was taken back because my wife was never this kind of person and not that liberal, to be honest. I at first refused and questioned if this had anything to do with the new manager, to which she denied, but said she felt like she missed out, but at the same time didn't want to lose me, so this was a safer option. I warned her that she was playing with fire, then reluctantly and naively agreed. So we set some ground rules, mainly not to sleep with another person in our home. So for a year, and my wife goes on dates, has one-night stands, then, as if I didn't see it coming, somehow is in some kind of a relationship with the manager. I, on the other hand, had a few dates, but no one-night stands, because frankly, it felt wrong to me. My wife would ask if I was fine, but really wouldn't change her behavior. At some point, I felt the love I had for her, that pure, special innocence of marriage was gone, and it was killing me inside. I ended up going on a date with an amazing woman who migrated over from South Korea. Conversation was effortless. She had wit of a lightning-fast wisecrack and a smile that had one forget himself. This, of course, led to more dates until we were intimate. I honestly never had intercourse like I had with this woman. I never knew a woman could be so giving and make one feel so desirable. At first, my wife thought it was cute, but as the months went by, she began questioning my relationship with my lover. I promptly pointed out that this was her idea, and even she was in a relationship with the manager I was concerned about. She was silent, looked like she wanted to say something, but held her tongue. She began coming home early to surprise me with dinner and get the house extra clean. So she started coming to my workplace to drop off lunch and began to initiate intimacy in the bedroom. Honestly, if it wasn't for her opening up our marriage, which I am also to blame for agreeing, all this would have had me jumping for joy. I barely gave in to her attempts at intimacy, and when I did, it was simply to just get it over with. Something in me towards my wife died, and I could see she felt it too. I asked her what brought on this change, what was different. The response I got was that she wants to show me that she loves me and is happy with me. I never intended to, but I burst out laughing. I asked about her little group of friends, her manager lover, or her one-night stands. She didn't respond that day and simply went to bed in tears. The next day, I get home to find her waiting for me. She told me she wants to close the marriage, that this whole experience was a horrible mistake, and she regrets everything and wants us to be the focus of our relationship again. I told her to be honest with me and tell me what inspired all this in the first place, and wouldn't you know it, it was her group of friends that planted the idea because of their numerous exploits, and when her manager came around, he surprisingly supported that lifestyle and encouraged my wife to live free. Apparently, it developed into an emotional affair, but only got physical once the marriage opened. Wow, like that makes it any better. She described it as being drunk behind the wheel of a speeding car. It was thrilling and intoxicating, but the price of this decision has become too much for her to bear. She sees now that she never needed a comparison, that what we had was truly unique and special, but now she feels like she murdered our marriage and any chance of a life together. I told her I might not be able to ever see her as my wife again, and this made her break down in front of me. I simply held her in silence as she cried until she fell asleep in my arms on the couch. She has since left her job and cut off contact with all her friends and her manager, and even told me she's willing to spend the rest of her life making it up to me and work her fingers to the bone to be seen as a wife by me. But I haven't cut contact with my lover. My lover, quite frankly, makes me feel like a man, like I can challenge the world, and my wife hasn't in a while. Truth is, I don't know what to do in this situation. I would love to get this special feeling back if possible, but my lover basically saved me when I was at my lowest. Please help me. Forgot to add, we have our first marriage counseling session in a couple of hours. Not sure how that will go. And the OP has an updated post for us, and it's titled, "My Wife's Insane Behavior and How It Changed Us. Update 2. The second counseling session in the unsettling things I have learned so far." Let's get right into it. Still haven't figured out how to link posts, and a very warm thank you to everyone who has reached out. I apologized for not being able to reply to each and every one of you in the inbox or on the post. Anyway, here's the update so far. Again, thank you for all your support. It's quite literally been an episode of Jerry Springer. I have since moved into an apartment owned by my brother for a ridiculously cheap price. He owns properties and would have let me stay for free, but I refused that. Just a little of what I have uncovered about my wife's behaviors, and some unsettling things about her manager. During our second session of counseling, I asked some of the questions that some Redditors asked. 1. If she was sure nothing physical happened before the opening of the marriage. She looked towards the ground and begged me not to make her say it. She said if she said it, then it would destroy us, but after some pushing, she shared that it wasn't physical, but they touched themselves in front of each other. This douche of a manager convinced her that since it wasn't physical, sort of, it wasn't technically cheating, and that they were simply enjoying each other's full beauty. I was absolutely floored by this, and she started shaking and hyperventilating. Snot even began flowing from her nostrils as she cried and apologized to me. At this point, even the counselor was taken aback and had to look disbelief. My wife got on her knees and hugged my legs, saying how sorry she was. 2. I then asked her what really changed her view of him. She said after she started pulling back from the group as a whole, his behavior towards her changed. Then one evening, as she was leaving a meeting, she passed his office and heard him speaking about her to another male colleague. He said he was surprised as to how easy it was to get her, and how she's living proof that you can't trust the quiet ones. When the colleague asked if he actually fancied her, his response was that was a pleasant distraction, and that he had absolutely no intention of breaking up with his fiancée. He even added that this was simply to get it out of his system because the only woman who has ever understood him was his fiancée, and he didn't want to break up with her. He also mentioned how he felt bad for me, but you snooze, you lose. My wife, upon realizing that she was nothing more than a piece of meat to this man, added by the fact that she betrayed me for a cheap thrill, actually made her very sad in the moment. She said she left her workplace and vomited in the parking lot. She also added that her first thoughts were, "What have I done?" and, "My name, please forgive me. I'm so sorry." 3. I then asked her if she loved him and when it was that she stopped loving me. She looked me dead in the eyes through tears and said she never stopped loving me, which honestly makes it worse, and that he was just something different. She thought it was love, but now realizes how foolish that was. She squeezed my arm with surprising strength and said she knows she messed up, but she misses us and the connection we had before all of this. She even suggested we move away and start fresh, just the two of us, just as it was meant to be. I then told her it wouldn't be fair to my lover and that I need time away from her to process all of this. It was like she had a meltdown at those words. She started sobbing harder and saying incoherent things. She held on to me as if I was going to disappear. Took some time for both me and the counselor to calm her down. The counselor managed to convince her that maybe time apart could help us heal. Now, I wish I could end the update with just this, but as we got home, I began to pack. My wife got a video call from her laptop. It was one of her former friends in tears. It turns out that after my wife resigned, this friend and the manager began a fling of their own, but apparently she had a pregnancy scare which caused them to basically turn into Dr. Jekyll. To make matters worse, she had a boyfriend whom she supposedly could see a future with him, and the only reason why she even had a fling was because she was curious of the experience. Funny how that seems to be a trend. Her boyfriend found out because he discovered an email between the two discussing the potential pregnancy, but the manager basically accused her of baby trapping him. Of course, he left her, and the reason why she made contact is because she was under the impression that my wife managed to save our marriage and was desperately seeking advice. I just turned and left and have been staying in the apartment ever since. Once again, thank you all for your thoughts and helpful advice. Thank you guys for watching. Please make sure you like the video and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell so you don't miss any of our future videos, and be sure to comment below what other subreddits you want me to cover.